بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وبعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening for what I hope will be a beneficial and hopefully promising and inspiring presentation of what's to come here at GCLEA. The sisters are certainly welcome to be in the classroom, and if they want to join up here, there are already some ladies sitting inside. If you want, as you like. So, welcome to GCLEA 2020. No, the lights are fine. Lights are fine. We don't want to get that intimate yet. We'll get there, inshallah. Lights will dim, a little closer. Body's getting warm. We'll get there, don't worry. Inshallah, we'll get to that point. Right now, we still need the lights on. We still need to see who's who and where we're going. So, tonight, before I get started, I just want to thank everyone again for coming. Of course, to thank our board of directors who are in attendance this evening, to thank our staff for all their hard work. As you know, we have a staff here. As lean as it may be, they are, of course, doing a great deal of work for us. And then to thank the volunteers. Our teams of volunteers are the people that make GCLEA come to life. And so if it wasn't for our volunteers, of course, much of the work that you saw as we were getting set up on the slideshow, from whitewater rafting trips to summer camps for kids, ladies study groups, men's study groups, after-school programs, outreach programs, that, what you saw, by the way, was mostly what has been going on post-Ramadan. So just a couple of months of activity, and you can see things are continuing to grow and are continuing to engage. So if we were to highlight everything that we've done over the past year, which hopefully we'll have time for in another setting, we could all be very happy and proud of our accomplishments and the things that we have done as a community at large. If it wasn't for the enthusiasm and dedication of the volunteers, of course, we wouldn't be able to talk about tonight's plans for the future. We would be having a very different conversation. So there's a couple of very exciting announcements. That's why we called everyone here. We just want to stay in touch with what's coming in terms of good news, and also there's a couple of challenges. Some healthy challenges that I think we as a community are ready for. So what I'm going to do is start the night off talking about vision. If you've been tuned in on Fridays and you've been present and your heart has been with us, you will know for the past 2 months or so, we've been talking a great deal about vision. We've been talking about the future, plans, aspirations, goals, and how to achieve those things. I am a strong believer in the importance of vision. And we as a community have to understand that vision helps us define what we want to see for the future. What do we want to see as a community for the future here? And our success in achieving that vision basically rests upon everyone being able to come together and stand united behind a singular vision, and then working towards identifiable goals, realistic goals, which are, of course, measurable. So, what is our vision at GCLEA? I asked a number of people this question over the past couple of weeks or months. What is GCLEA's vision? What does GCLEA stand for? What does it mean for you? You may have your own connection with this center. It may mean something to you as an individual or to a family. However, whether you know it or not, for the past 7 years, That's right. For the past 7 years, there have been 4 words that have driven every decision, that have been a part of every event, at the heart of every program and service that we have provided. Those 4 words are encouraging connection, enriching community. 4 words: encouraging connection, enriching community. And this is our vision. What does that mean? It's important that we understand what this means from the beginning. Before we talk about 2020 and beyond, basically, as a community, whether we put this into words or not on an individual level, we envision a world where people are more connected to Allah. They're more connected to God. This is the first level of the vision. We understand as people of faith that this connection, this relationship, is the fundamental or the foundation of living a good life. That you're first connected with your Lord and Maker. After that, we envision a world where people are more connected to family. Over the generations, over the years, we know there's a trend of families becoming disconnected. With all the technology, the FaceTime, the Skype, etc., as easy as it is to connect digitally, we seem to be growing apart. And so we understand that in Islam, family is fundamental. It is extremely important. Families, strong families, grow strong communities. Strong families grow strong communities. And it only takes one strong community to make a difference. One strong community is all it takes to impact the world. If you look at our history, the Prophet ﷺ, he belonged to how many communities? He belonged to one community. And it began with families. When he began his mission, he didn't just turn around and have 10,000 followers, but when he began, he was commanded to invite and preach to his closest of kin. He began with his family, and he developed them. And then he began with his close friends, those closest to him, that would lend them their ear. And then the community began to grow. And over time, you think about the mission of the Prophet ﷺ, how long was it? 100 years? How long was it? 23 years. 23 years is all it took to make an impact. 23. Where are we now? 7. So it's time that we're talking about this. We're on track, inshallah. So this begins at home with the family. The next thing, of course, is connection with the neighbor. I'm not just talking about your neighbor next to you, the house on your left or your right. You should already do that. That should be a given. So do you know your neighbor on the left and on the right, in front of you and behind you? The companions were big on neighbors in terms of what is the neighbor. I'm talking about communities, our neighboring communities, communities of other faiths, people of other walks of life, that we're more connected, that we have a personal interest in those communities. We develop relationships. By connecting to neighbors, we can own our own narrative. We can own our own narrative. We can become real human people to the community around us and help influence their perspective and thoughts as to who we are. If we're isolated away from community, well, guess what? We leave them to assume whatever they want about us. And 9 times out of 10, and we heard a lot about that today, assumption, and what leads to assumption. 9 times out of 10, people will end up assuming the worst. They'll end up assuming the worst. And our crazy days that we live in now, it's fully primed that people jump to the most negative of conclusions about our community. So we envision a world that we are more connected to neighbor. The next thing is enriching community. How do we achieve these things? Of course, number one, through education. The Prophet ﷺ began his mission by teaching people faith, teaching them about worship, teaching them about manners and morals, etiquette. This is fundamental. A fundamental part of our vision is a world that is more educated and aware. After that, we want to engage people, to have meaningful social engagement. This is how you grow together. Some people may say, well, you're a mosque. What are you doing running whitewater rapid trips? Why are you going skiing? Why are you going bowling? Why are you having relay races and summer camps for kids? Why are you? Because these are the opportunities. This is the platform in which people get together and share experiences. And when you share experiences, you make connection. And that connection bonds you together, enriching your life socially. And then, of course, when we are more connected to each other, as a community at large, we're more likely to care for each other through welfare. And I'm not just talking about giving money or welfare. I'm talking about robust welfare programming. Welfare of the soul, for example. Through prayer, through guidance. Welfare through counseling, through care. And also, of course, financial, that we can help each other out when we are in need. So, 4 simple words with one powerful message. So here's an exercise. Think about this. The next time that you visit GCLEA, the next time you get ready to walk through the doors of the men's or the women's entrance, your first step in, I want you to stop and I want you to look down. What will you see? Does anyone know? Beautiful green carpet. No. Not the 20th step. The first step in the door. Stop, look down. What will you see? GCLEA carpet. What does it read? What does it read? It reads, encouraging connection, enriching community. Every time you walk in the door, you should take a look down at that carpet and be reminded why you're here. Why are you here? What is it about GCLEA that has brought you here? It is these 4 words: to connect you to God, to family, to neighbor, through education, through engagement, and through welfare programming, through care and concern. So let that be an exercise that we continue to do throughout our days and our weeks and our months. When we walk in, we look down and we are reminded what our vision is of this community. And this vision, these words, will drive us forward into the future. They will help frame us or help frame where it is that we're going. Where are we going? GCLEA opened in, as I said, 2010, 7 years ago. That means our 10th anniversary is 2.5 years away. That's going to go by in the blink of an eye. 7 years went by quick. 2 more years, 3 more years, that's going to fly right by. The question is, are we ready to wrap up 10 years? Are we ready to get together for a 10th-year anniversary and look back at what we've accomplished and be proud? What do you think? Have we accomplished all that we hoped for? Or do you think there's still some pending items, some things that we can do? The next 2.5, 3 years, are there still some things that we can do? Since I arrived in 2011, as a community, we have been working together to figure that out. What is it that we want to see? What is it that we want to have here? What services and programs do we want to enjoy and to extend to those around us? We've been providing great services for the most part. You're all here as a testament to that. We've been sacrificing time. We've been sacrificing skills. We've been sacrificing wealth. We've been introducing other people to our center. But I think it's time to set a date on where we want to be or what it is that we want to do. So by 2020, I believe that we should be able to offer a full service center to this community by 2020. What does that mean? I'm not talking about having every single thing here. Full service doesn't mean we have everything here. We don't need to have a restaurant here. We don't need to have a Bounce U here. We don't need to have a shoe store here. We don't need to have, see where I'm going? We don't need to have all those things. Those things are already working for us. But what we do need to have is the essentials that will help secure our presence as Muslims in this region. The essentials that will help secure. I don't mean just allow us to be here as just people, but as strong Muslims, the essentials. We should be able to say by 2020, we have those essentials. We have the facility, we have the capacity, we have the support, and we have the leadership. We need to be able to provide a safe environment for our families and for our children. We need to be able to grow together, to educate our young ones and our elders. We need to have programs that highlight our faith through service and contribution. By 2020, we should not only be acknowledged by our own faith community as providing these much-needed services, but I believe we should be acknowledged by our community at large, that we are contributing to the betterment of our own community. Basically, what that means is performance. It means performance has to be noteworthy. We'll talk a little bit more about what's required to get to that point shortly. But because we're talking about the future, why not discuss the next 5 years after that? Why not discuss 2025? 2025. After meeting the needs of the local community, being a full-service center, we should be at such a level that our operations invite others to join us right here at GCLEA. Think about it now. Destination community. What comes to your mind when you hear that word? Destination community. People move there because the community is awesome. They're lacking community life. They want somewhere to belong. They want somewhere to develop. They want somewhere their kids will grow up. They want some place to be proud of. What comes to your mind? I'm sure that all of you no judgment zone here, but don't blurt it out because you may hurt my feelings. You may be thinking in your mind, well, I've heard of this community over in this region and that community in the other region, and these guys seem like they're the leaders. They're where people move. They're where people go. We want to be that place. By 2025, we need to be that place. Not just because New Jersey is ranked number 1 of states where people leave. Yes, you are all living in the winner of the losers. Losers of people, that is. Not to say that we're losers, but this state loses people more than anyone else. 63% of the moves, according to Forbes magazine 2016, 63% of the moves were moving out, not moving in. 63%. Guess what? New York's number 3. There's a couple of New Yorkers here tonight. We can't say we beat New York because we got the most people leaving. We need to change that. Not just for New Jersey, of course, but we need to change that for our community. We need to affect that number. How can we do that? By 2025, and this is a modest number, if we can attract 55 families to this region, that's time, man. That's 7 years. 2025, if we can bring 55 families to this region, guess what? We beat New York. That's all it's going to take to tip New Jersey from New York. 55, I know you guys, there's always this thing between New Jersey and New York. 55 families. That should be a target. We should set that target. That should be on our mind. How can we attract 55 families? What is needed to bring people to our region? That's how we're going to grow. That's how we're going to grow support. That's how we can achieve capacity. Right? We're doing a great job here. Brothers and sisters, husbands and wives, you're having babies left and right. Congratulations. We are going to grow a community with our families. There's no doubt about it. As long as we keep our numbers up, 3 or 4 a family, guess what? 20 years, this place is going to be packed. We're going to need another building. But in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, we're going to need to attract people to this area. So if by 2025 we've gotten those 55 families, we've reached a target. Pat ourselves on the back. We're growing. And it's an indication that we're doing something right here. We're doing something right to attract people, because that's what it's all about. It's about doing the right things, the things that will have an impact. After that, what are we going to do? Let's do one more, and then we'll move on. What are we going to look like at 2030? 2025 is about development. It's about developing people, providing them a place where they can develop, where they can contribute, where they can belong. 2030 is the pinnacle. That's about us leaving a legacy. After we're able to service our community, attract other individuals and families to us, then where we need to be is by 2030, when the other communities in this country, they say, we want an active community. We want a robust, meaningful center with programs and services. They think of GCLEA. They're going to think of this center, because by that point, we need to have set the gold standard. The way we do things. First, what it is that we do and how we do it. It needs to be at such a level that people are now calling us. Organizations are calling us, which means we have gained influence. And when you have influence, you are a leader. The Prophet ﷺ was a leader. His community was a leading, guiding community that was able to impact the world. Lofty goals, high aspirations. Is it out of the realm of possibility? Of course not. With this group right here, we don't have hundreds of people with us tonight, but I believe with this group right here, it's all we need to get started. This group, each and every one of you, male, female, young, old, each and every one of you, that's all it needs to get it started. So what's the next step? The next step, of course, is growth. We need to grow. We need to grow in many ways. So look, I want to share a little personal tidbit with you. A little secret. I'm a new Muslim. You may not be able to tell that because my beard is extra long. But yes, I'm a new Muslim. I accepted Islam just a few short years ago, 1999. And I embraced Islam in North Carolina, Raleigh, to be precise. If you've ever gone down south, Raleigh is the capital of North Carolina. I embraced Islam in a very large community. I uttered the Shahada in front of approximately 5,000 worshipers on Eid. That was the size of the community. On Eid Day, I stood in front of 5,000 people. My knees were knocking. My legs were shaking. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I uttered out those words, and I was welcomed into a community of 5,000 people. Of course, that's not the Fajr line or the Jummah crowd, but that was the basic community. The center at that time in '99 was in its 15th year of operation. They started in 1981, a group of immigrants in the area going to school at North Carolina State University. They formed the Islamic Association of Raleigh. Just a group of students. They didn't have jobs. They weren't big doctors and engineers, technology people, etc. They were just students, and they formed an association for Muslims in 1981. By 1999, when I came to the masjid, they had started an expansion project, about $3 million project to build a mosque, to relieve the structure they had running a full-time school and a mosque out of. Full-time accredited school, kindergarten to 8th grade, accredited, licensed teachers, the mosque, the Sunday school, and the Quran memorization program were running out of that building. It was time for them to grow. And so they started to build a mosque dedicated simply for prayer, worship, and the supporting activities and programs. I identified a couple of things, and I've been studying communities of that capacity. They had industry. It was the capital, Research Triangle. They had a number of big companies in the area. They had universities, which meant that they had a constant influx of young minds and energy, and they had population. Do we have those things? You saying yes? Do we have industry across the bridge? Do we have universities? South Jersey's got a lot of them. Do we have population? 5,000? 3,000? 1,000? That's going to grow if we do our part. We've got 2 out of 3, and that's pretty good odds if we're able to tap into those things and use them to our advantage. So we just need a little bit of time and a little bit of effort to make that growth happen. We could sit and wait for 2030 to come, and we could find ourselves in the same place unless we take action. So here are a couple of projects that I believe are doable in the next couple of years to 2020 to get us to full service. Number 1 is an alternative to public school. I know everyone has their philosophy on public school system. Cherry Hill's got a great public school system. 71 out of 238 in New Jersey. That's the ranking, 71. It's not number 1. It's not number 2. It's not in the top 10. It's 71. But it's not down there at the bottom either when you're comparing public schools. But is that really the standard we want to use for education, public school system? Or is there a better way, a better standard, something that fits better for our families and our children? I think it's time that we talk about an alternative, that a serious conversation we have to have about securing our children's identity in their formative years. To secure their identity, to offer them a place to learn and grow, to feel secure with who they are. Mo can now be Muhammad in class. Jacob can now be Yaqub in class and not feel anything. Fatima, Aisha, they can now wear their hijab when the time comes and not feel embarrassed or feel compromised. They can go swimming in an environment that's conducive to their faith values. We have the facility, we have the talent to provide such an opportunity. This year, as you may be aware, we partnered with a new organization, Muslim Homeschoolers of South Jersey. I'm personally involved in that. Muslim homeschoolers of South Jersey. Yeah, homeschooling is not for everybody. It's a huge commitment. It's a huge undertaking to own your child's education, meaning it's in your hands. But you know what? That was the way of our pious predecessors. When you look at the way they were educated, look at the greatest of the greats, and when you see their resume, if you will, it says, first studied with father, first learned Arabic with mother, memorized the Quran with the uncle or cousin or auntie, etc. The family was not just behind pushing them out the door, but was sitting with them on the floor, going through the motions of learning and teaching, imparting knowledge. There's nothing better you can give your child than a strong foundation. So we've started that. Homeschool Co-op. It meets here every week on Thursday from 9 to 3. We had our first week this past week. First great day. A start to something that could grow, to having a very, very robust co-op opportunity here for this region. There's not a Muslim co-op right now. You have to travel to Central Jersey to be involved with such a program. So you're saying, okay, I'm not a homeschooler. I've not even considered that. That's off the radar. That's off the map. No way. I work. Wife works. No time. No concern. Why not a school? We need to get a school up and running. And I think kindergarten to third grade is a great start. This is a conversation we've been having for the last 5 years. Some of us have been talking about a school, a place we can send our kids, feel comfortable, feel confident that not only will it provide them the safe environment they need to help them along their way with their identity, but will be on par at the very least or better than what is out there in the public school system so that they will be prepared academically to carry on with their education. A good school, listen to this, because this has multiple benefits. A good school not only addresses the immediate need for our kids, for our children, but will act like a strong magnet. A good school is a magnet. People do it all the time. In Cherry Hill, people move to school districts. They do it all over the country. Where's the best school district? That's where I'm moving. I like the middle school, don't like the high school, I'm going to move to the next school district. People make those decisions all the time for public school. Muslim families make the same decisions for a good private school. But it's not one district to the next. People are willing to move from township to township, city to city, even state to state. I've seen it in Raleigh, North Carolina. People were coming from Jersey, right here. They were leaving. They were bumping that 63% right up there, coming down to Raleigh, North Carolina, enrolling their kids in a private school. Fully accredited school all the way up to the 8th grade. So you get to address the children, you get to address growth and capacity, to bring people in, to attract them to something that could be great. We've been looking at properties, by the way, so you're up to speed. We've been looking at properties. We've seen a school. We're looking at other commercial properties right around here that can be retrofitted to be a school close to the masjid. But, of course, your support is needed, your input and your involvement. The next project, check this out. This is a fun one. This is a fun one. We've made some changes to the center, as you've noticed. We've been getting the compliments. Thank you. And you're welcome. Nice, beautiful carpet, new classroom, automating some of the systems around here so that when you walk in, there's a certain feeling you have. We're moving from a kind of a warehouse vibe, if you get my meaning, to a more purpose-driven sanctuary in this space. So that when you walk in the door, it's a conducive environment for prayer and for worship, for reflection. I have this little exercise that I do when I visit mosques, by the way. When I go into a mosque, I've been into a lot when I lived in New York. They're all over the place. I've been into a number of them here in New Jersey. And when I was overseas, I used to always ask myself one question. When I looked at the mosque, went inside, smelled the place, went to the restroom, prayed, etc., stood on the carpet, made sujood, I asked myself, would my father leave his home for a religious experience here? Think about that. Would my father leave his home? Would my mother come out of her home? They're upper middle class people. Educated, nice home, like nice things, like the creature comforts. When they leave their home, it has to be for something special. Especially when they want a religious experience. When they want to pray. They want to find peace and solace. They want to find some servitude from the world. They need to go to a place that's conducive for that. When you look at this place, think about before Ramadan and after Ramadan. The changes that have been made. And they've been slight little tweaks here and there. When you come in now, you feel like, this is a masjid. This is a musalla. This is the place for prayer. This is not a place for running relay races. Not a place for indoor soccer. Not a place for buffets and hangouts and parties. It's now become a masjid. More purpose-driven. It's important that we continue to go in that direction. Which means we have a need. We don't want to stop the relay races. We don't want to stop the barbecues and the buffets and the hangouts, etc. We want to provide a proper platform that when we do use or when we do those things, we will not feel anxiety about breaking or messing up or destroying. So, this is my proposal. What do you think? Multi-purpose hall. Yeah, I know, you're saying that's been done. We need to be innovative. We need to be creative if we want to be leaders. But this is a great idea. This is a great idea, to have a dedicated space for play, for gatherings, for social events, to eat. And we love that. To have the iftar parties, to have suhoor, to have your celebrations, your graduations, your weddings. Here you go. And then to come play. Indoor basketball court. Guess what? Surprise, there's one right there. In this building. It's right outside this door. That big portion of the building that you pass by all the time when you make your one-way circle around. It's right there. It's being used as a batting cage now. But before the batting cage, it was a basketball court. With hoops and a floor and everything. And I'm willing to bet, I have some insider information, that if you lift up that AstroTurf, you'll find the flooring still there. Opportunity comes up at the end of 2018. There's an opportunity for us at the end of 2018. So, taking a good idea and making it better. This is what I think. Instead of a drain on the community, just a big space that we don't use every day, all day, what we do is we turn it into a revenue generator, a revenue stream for the masjid. Because we have to think outside of the box. Most of the mosques that build these community halls, they let them stay there as that empty, unoperated except for a couple of hours throughout the week. What we want to do is turn it into a business, which means we partner with someone. It's a basketball court, we bring in a basketball guy or gal that knows basketball in this area, that runs leagues, that runs workshops, that runs training sessions, that rents out that court. And when we need it, we have first rights to it. To generate income, to more than double what it generates now in the lease. So that alleviates and solves a number of problems. We get the space that we need, and we also are not burdened with the price tag on it. Number 3, and this is the last project that I think is a doable project for us in the coming couple of years, and that is just to have some good old-fashioned outdoor fun. Place for the kids to come together. Look, all of us that have kids, we go to the parks. We love our parks here in South Jersey. We go to Jake's place. It's nothing like a good weekend. Pack up the car, throw the kids in, get the bikes, get the boards, head over to Jake's place for a couple of hours, and guess what? Weekend's done. We had our fun. Bring a picnic, meet some families, meet some friends perhaps. We go to Jake's Place, we go to Freedom Park. There's a couple other ones that are beautiful. We have the space. Most community centers, most masjids, they don't have the kind of space that we have. They'd love to have a big piece of land right next door that they could build a park on, put a basketball court on, etc. We have the space, but guess what? It's underutilized because right now it's not properly outfitted for our needs. We have a handball court. Who plays handball? Nobody plays tennis? Tennis is offline, by the way. That tennis court has been offline for a while. Been turned into a soccer pitch or something. That was utilized, but guess what? We had a soccer league running here, but it's just not the right dimensions, it's not the right size. So what do you think if we put in our list of to-dos for the next couple of years, we get us a park on par with what's out there so that, and I know you're not going to stop going to Jake's Place, that you can throw GCLEA into the rotation. Every other week you stop by here. And then there's a nice little walking trail for you to get your exercise, maybe some little personal workout stations. There's plenty of shady space for you to sit and chit-chat while your little angels go play on the monkey bars and the swings. And they can rip and run all they want outside, and guess what? You don't have to worry about, oh, you're going to break the speakers, you're going to break the door, you're going to rip the carpet, you're going to mark up the wall. You don't have to worry about that. It's outside. Let them rip and run. And then when it's time for prayer, Bismillah, let's go in and pray. And then we'll go back out and play. Meeting some basic needs and having some fun along the way. Brothers and sisters, in order to grow into this facility, in order to grow into the functions that we want in this facility, in this community, and to intentionally head to our 10th year anniversary and our 20th year anniversary, we need to strengthen our team. We need a boost. We need to grow. And to do that, we should consider ourselves as a community extremely blessed to bring on board one of the most promising scholars of our country, Dr. Tahir Wyatt. You may remember him. He visited this community several months ago. And he delivered a very powerful message about moderate Muslims in modern America. We have the video posted on our website. You should check that out because a lot of the messaging in that video, in that presentation, is directly related to what we're doing here. Because at that time, we were organizing his transition from PhD program to returning back home and joining us here at GCLEA. If you don't know Dr. Tahir Wyatt, he is a native of Philadelphia, across the bridge. This is his home. This is his stomping grounds right here. He is Philadelphia native who has been in Medina for roughly 20-some years, completing an education from learning the Arabic language, memorizing the Quran, completing a bachelor's degree, postgraduate degree, master's degree, and as of 2 weeks ago, completing his PhD. And now he's ready to come back. So this is the thing. He's planning to come back. Everybody wants him. There's not a community that wouldn't sign him right away. Not a community that would not sign him right away, immediately. He's a teacher in the Prophet's Mosque, the first American scholar to teach in the Prophet's Mosque. That's not like here. That is the second holiest site in the Muslim world. And he is there teaching people their religion. That was by royal decree, and he will continue to maintain that post. How proud will you be when you can say, one of our imams is the teacher in the Prophet's Mosque? How inspiring is that? How motivational is that? Someone who accepted Islam, like myself, new Muslim, to go as far as he has gone, bi tawfiqillah, and to come back to join us in this community. That's huge. That is huge. And if you're not feeling it like I'm feeling it right now, then you give it a matter of months when he returns, and you will get to know him. You will see what he is able to bring to this organization. He is an international speaker with a huge network of leaders. We're talking 2030 means, 2025, let's not get off track. 2025 means destination location. I bet you when I asked what were destination locations, you thought of a place, but you thought of the person. You thought of the place and you thought of the person, the leader, because the leader is what makes the place. We just added a huge boost to leadership here at GCLEA. So what we're looking at is a very diverse group. Whoa, 3 people? You just say, yes, 3. More leadership, more influence, more ability to impact community, to think globally and act locally. Now, there's a lot of things. We have been in conversation, Sheikh Rashid, Dr. Wyatt, and myself have been in conversation for a number of months about what it is that we're going to do here, where it is that we want to take the community, what are our roles and responsibilities, and we all have a number of things that we do. Some of our roles, they overlap in places. Education, preaching, outreach, counseling, etc. However, one word so that you understand what it is that's going on here, so that you can see the strategy behind it. National notoriety. Dr. Wyatt will be able to put us on the map. He has the potential to become the American Muslim scholar upon his return. In many circles, believe it or not, those personalities that you thought of in the destination location, they have Sheikh so-and-so, Imam so-and-so. Guess what? More than likely, they're calling him for advice right now and have been in conversation with him over the years. Little insider information. With all of this growth and added value, this is important to keep in mind, we have also been considering safety. As I mentioned before, the world we live in, etc., we have been considering the safety of the community and of the facility. So, the next big announcement, right, before Smoothie King, the next big announcement is that earlier this year, we applied for a security grant through the state of New Jersey. That's right. That's an indication of what's going on in the states. The federal government was offering much larger grants to religious communities to target harden their facilities. Unfortunately, our township, our area, we were exempt from that grant. But the state of New Jersey, your tax money, powers that be put away $1 million to give to these townships. There were like 9 that were exempt. Camden County, believe it or not, was on the list. Apparently, the crime rate is not high enough. I don't know. So we applied for this grant, and guess what? Out of 60 organizations, we were granted the full amount of $50,000. Out of 60 organizations, only 20 were granted an award, $50,000. So what we've been doing is focusing on 3 major areas: access, surveillance, and deterrence, to improve and target harden our facility. As you know, we have a security director. Our volunteer security director has been brought on as a full-time team member and has been leading the implementation of this project. Our dear brother Jilani back there. Jazakallah khair. So for the past 3 months, Mr. Jilani back there has been busy organizing vendors and contractors to put together a very robust security system for us, which will include electronic safety doors. So imagine you have a little key card, boop, boop, you can get in. Doors are open automatic. They're on timers for Fajr prayer. You walk in, the doors are open, automatically closing at night. Can be shut down when we need to. We can control access to the center, implementing a better camera system for night vision, etc., putting more secure window films all around, blast-proof, bomb-proof, etc., or resistant. Exterior lighting, you know that sometimes in the parking lot, of course, it's quite dark out there. We have been granted a portion of our money to put towards exterior lighting as a deterrent for would-be evildoers, I should say. So that's great news. That's huge. And I want you to know that because that's what we're doing. We're not only asking you to support the center, but we're looking, actively looking outside for money that you've already put somewhere, your taxes, to see how it can better serve our community. Sometimes we feel like paying taxes. We're just giving it out to the tax man. Nothing comes back except that little bit that you can blow on a vacation. Well, guess what? $50,000 is coming our way. You'll feel that in the next month or two, inshallah. Which, of course, brings us, we're talking about money, it brings us to vitality. Vitality, and this is where we're going to wrap up. Vitality meaning faculty and finance. Not everything can be supported by grant money. That was only $50,000. Our budget is a lot larger. And our budget is going to continue to grow. Has to. The budget during the time of the Prophet ﷺ grew and grew. And it continued to grow after him. If you want to grow, if you want to spread, if you want to have influence and impact, you've got to finance that thing. Right? If you want to have a good time, you finance your fun. Imagine trying to have a good vacation on $5. Imagine that. Have you had a $5 vacation? I feel you, buddy. Guess what? End of the year comes. It's winter break. Family's expecting something. You show up and say, we're going to try the $5 vacation this year. What's going to happen? Gentlemen, I'm asking you right now. Okay, I won't ask you. I'm going to ask your wives in the back. What's going to happen when hubby here says, this year we're doing a $5 vacation? You can tell me later. I already know what will happen. You want to have fun, you got to finance it. You want to have an impact with your community, it has to be financed. So here we go. Number one, more important than the money is human resources. This is way more important. We have to have the people. Right now we have a number of committees. The committees, they were responsible for the slideshow you saw before I started talking at you. All the activities, they did those. Jazakallah khair. May Allah reward you for your efforts, for your sincerity, your devotion, dedication. They're the ones that put on the summer camps. They're the ones that do the Sunday schools. They're the ones that have fun with the men, the ones that arrange fun for the ladies, etc. But guess what? We keep on riding on them, and it's a small team, by the way. And I believe they're about maxed out with what they can do. They're maxed out. Each committee has a couple of people only. And you saw everything that we accomplished with that those small team committees. Imagine if the committees grew. Imagine if they grew. Instead of having 3 people, they had 7 people or 10 people. Imagine what we could do, the services that we could provide, the enjoyment that we could give ourselves and those around us. So what you do right now, if you want to get involved, you pull out your device, pull out your phone, GCLEA.org. Yep. And you will find a brand new website. That's right. We had our website for the last 7 years. It's the same old thing. We, just today, launched a new website. GCLEA.org 2.0. Go ahead. Log in right now. If you're having a data issue, we have Wi-Fi. Most of you have already got the password somehow. Check it out, GCLEA.org. Brand new website. Our brother, Nusrat, it's right there. We want to thank you for your hard work. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for your dedication. There you go. All right. Yeah, one man Of course, he was supported by our technology gurus. Ibrahim Shafi Allah over there. I had to, man. I told you I was going to do it. So on the website, you will see a block that says About. You scroll down a little bit, you see a block that says Get Involved. You click on that block, it'll take you to a page where you can put your name in the box to be on a committee. Put your name, put your email, put your phone number, and check what area of involvement interests you. Look here, welcoming committee. If you don't know what that is, that's welcoming people into our community. That's actively looking for new members, bringing them in, getting them acquainted with everyone, introducing them to your friends, the people you pray next to, getting them to know about GCLEA and what we're doing. That's important because that's going to be the driving force of growth, is actively looking for new members. Your family, your auntie, your uncle, whoever that's not here, well, guess what? The welcoming committee is leading the charge. Do you know how many members they have right now? The welcoming committee. How many people are on the welcoming committee? We won't count him. Ijaz, the board, he's a board member, so he's already overloaded with work. Welcoming committee is just waiting for you to have a hand in this center's growth. Outreach committee, we've seen their work all the time. We've had numerous activities they've arranged for outreach, like family nights. They've done multi-faith events here, invited the police department here, etc. They've been doing a great job. But they can use your fresh thoughts and ideas as well as your brawn. Youth committee, we have boys and girls. Boys committee needs a lot of help. Girls committee needs a lot of help. They're begging for people to help them out. Men's enrichment committee, women's enrichment committee, who do you think's more busy? Who do you think's more active, men's or women's? Who? Women's enrichment committee is more active. Brothers, I like to do stuff. I want to do it with you guys. We got a skiing trip coming up. I want to see all of you there. I'll teach you how to ski. And try not to break your arm in the process. Most of you, at least. Some of you may not make it back. Help team. Help team is about relief. You remember way back when Hurricane Sandy? You guys remember that, Hurricane Sandy? It was not too long ago. Hurricane Sandy hit the coast right here. The help team was formed. We got together. We brought heaters and blankets and food and got together with other communities and shipped it off to the communities over there. Help team was the one that organized the open food pantry. Put that in there. And then we developed partnerships with organizations like Islamic Social Services of South Jersey to help move that food to the families that it needs to go to. These are a couple of things that you can do right now. Actionable items. Join. But do it and be ready to dedicate some time. I'm going to wrap it up with this. Check it out. Membership goals, okay? This is talking about finance and growth as well. They go hand in hand, right? We're not expecting that everyone here is just going to double down on their membership dues. Right? The minimum is like $50 a month, and then it goes up from there. Of course, there's some exceptions. We have a student membership. We have a single family membership. We have a senior citizen membership, etc. That's quite lower. We're not expecting that everyone's just going to double down and say, you know what, I'm going to do $100 instead of $50. If you do, great. And I'm not trying to stop you from doing that. In fact, I encourage that. If you can give more and you can sacrifice a little bit more, if you can make yourself a little uncomfortable for the sake of your faith, consider it an investment. The more invested you are, the more meaning it'll have for you. The more invested you are in this masjid, probably the more often you're going to want to be here. Because guess what? I'm putting my money into it. I want to see it grow. And we all know it's where we want to be. But we need to grow in numbers so that at some point we can say, hey, look, thank you for your $50. We're going to lower that if you want. Because we have the numbers. We have the capacity IAR, Islamic Association of Raleigh, in that time, with their $3 million project, you know what their dues were? $10. If you got 5,000 people, if you got 3,000 people, you don't need 50 from everybody. I talked to one guy, he'd been there 20 years. This was recently, I traveled back there to visit. He said, you know what? I signed up. This is free jazz right here. Check this out. You're going to love this. I signed up ACH 20 years ago, direct deposit. And guess what? Because the dues are so small, I forgot all about it. And I just kept paying. Set it and forget it. So check it out. Here's the challenge. Number one, currently we have 112 members. 112 members. Yeah, that represents families, etc. But think about Friday. If you pray here on Friday for Jummah, you know that we got a lot more people here. We probably got double that for potential memberships. We got another 100 people probably here that we could get to be members. But we have to engage them. Please do not expect that I'm going to do it by myself. I can't. I can't do it by myself. Sure, I can deliver a great khutbah, but I'm not going to get everybody to become a member. You guys and you ladies need to take this challenge seriously. So here we are, November. November, by the way, is Membership Awareness Month. Membership drive in November. We're going to dedicate a whole month to membership drives. Okay? So normally I would say, let's raise some money. Who wants to do this? Who wants to do that? Right now I'm asking you, who's ready to increase our community size? And I'm not talking about a lot. I tried to set realistic goals. I'm talking about a 30% bump. From 112 to 145 by January. That's not a lot. That's not a lot. 112 to 145, what's that, like 30-some? 30-some memberships? You think we can do that? Raise your hand if you think we can do that. Well, the naysayers, raise your hand. You think we can do that? I think we can do that. 30 people. I can get one. 30 memberships. If they got 20 kids, guess what? Alhamdulillah, we just grew by 20. And that's great too. But imagine 30 memberships. I'll be ready to go for one, but not all 30. Who wants to go for 1, 2, 3? Look, we're not talking about strangers. I'm talking about your brother-in-law. I'm talking about your cousin, your neighbor, your coworker, your person you know that's closest to you that you could convince so that the level of entry is low. Someone you already know. You may even have a little bit of influence over them. All you got to do is go and convince them. Bring them here and I'll help. I got Gilani somewhere here and he'll just make it happen. Right? He'll make it happen. Challenge for November. All right? It has to be in November. So you have to get on it now. It's not going to drag out December, January, February. By the end of November, the last day, membership should be turned in. Here's my member. Here's my contribution for this month. And you will get double the reward because you will have just brought 2 new families to the center and grown our community in size. That's where I'm going to wrap up. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa akhiru da'wana. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.